Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Lighthouse Sessions. I'm excited to have my new friend with me today, Christoph Karl Knoll. Welcome to the show. Please tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you very much, first of all, for the invitation. I really appreciate that. My name is Chris. Please call me like this as well, because Christoph is a long name. And I'm a mental fitness coach from Barcelona, originally from Germany, living over here for 8 years. And what do? I help people rewire their defaults, which are actually in the way of their life, because every new environment, every new context demands a new default. So just upskilling does not help really. So you have to get your autopilot also with you. If you leave it behind, you will always fall back to the defaults you have been shaped over the years. I hope that explains everything.
Oh, absolutely crystal clear. And no, we're going to dive deep into that because
I hope so.
I've been a personal development nerd my whole life. And for many, many years, I focused on the how. And it was like, okay, I just need this new skill. And then I kept running into the New Year's resolutions, and I'd see it in everybody where everybody's like, December 31st, we're going to change the world. We're going to eat better. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Yeah. My favorite movie that probably describes what we do is Bridget Jones.
Oh,
because
okay. I'm waiting for this connection.
Well, if you watch the original one, she always starts these radical life things where she goes out and gets a new journal, and she's like, okay, I'm going to give up smoking, I'm going to lose weight, and I'm going to date better men. And then it always falls apart over time. Yeah. And I just find it fascinating because that is what a lot of people think development looks like, is we make these big radical changes and then we fall down. And so the connection for me was the commonality is us. If most people believe, and I think this is where your work comes in, most people believe that it's about, I need to know how to do something. But if we're fighting against our presets, I call it the thermostat, we're always going to revert back. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely fair statement. I would have used different words, but absolutely fair statement. Now, I mean, thermostat, I like that. Now, you're completely right with what you're saying. I mean, the thing is, we always need to keep in mind that since we are born, we're shaped. We're getting shaped by our parents, by our environment, by school, university, by workplaces, by all the people that surround us, right? And even situation. I mean, we're shaping ourselves by situations. It means, for example, I have seen this the most within myself when I was traveling in South America, because always, if you're in a fight mode, for example, you need to adapt quickly, very, very quickly. So, and the deeper this shape happens in your subconscious or in your brain, and a new neural pathway is created, then you have actually created a new nervous system response for a certain trigger. So it means usually, it takes, for those who have read Atomic Habits, for example, I mean, science says, let's say 22, 23, 21 days to shape or to create a new habit, but sometimes it takes a little bit longer. But when our nervous system is in a fight mode, you will create them definitely faster than that. It's definitely my own experience. So, but yeah, everything you said is completely right. So when you want to stop smoking, when you want to lose weight, if you want to date the right people, you need to go a little bit deeper. And yeah.
I love that. And I think for me personally, once I figured out that when I look in the mirror, I'm staring at the guy responsible for all my problems, I got excited because it also meant I'm the guy who's going to solve them. And that was the lesson I learned, was that no amount of willpower will overcome the nervous system.
No.
What would you say to that?
No, absolutely. No, I mean, willpower is nice. I mean, it helps us in a lot of situations, but what if you have something created or something has been a way in your brain has been created that's so old, so deep that you always fall back to it. The good thing is about it, when we know that our subconscious mind, which is responsible for using those neural pathways, or which helps us to fall back to them, that it likes the easy way, Jeff. So it's really it's not lazy, but yeah, it's kind of lazy to be honest, our subconsciousness. But it's also the most intelligent part of our brain, the most, but also the most intriguing part. So the thing is, if we would give our brain a new alternative response, a new pathway, which is more outcome driven for a certain situation, and it's deep enough, then the subconsciousness would fall back to that one instead of the old one that has shaped us for, let's say, 2 decades or something like this. For example, when it comes to dating, and you attract always the same type of women or men, I mean, then you should think about, see the pattern. At some point, you should see that there is a little pattern, and you might need to do something about that. But the good thing is, where there is a pattern, there is something learned, and when there's something learned, you can also unlearn it. So,
well, and I think a lot of people are blind to their patterns, which again, reading Atomic Habits really opened my eyes, because it was all about creating the personal systems I needed in order to succeed. And part of that, for me, it was breath work and meditation. If I don't do my breath work, if I don't meditate, I'm really not my best self. And for my audience, they are mostly visionary founders. We need to be regulated enough for our team. We have to create that space. I used to think it was all about corporate culture, but now I realize it's about how well regulated is the leader, because our self-regulation will filter down. Now, I'm going to pivot a little bit, Chris. How did you get into this field? Because last time I checked, there's no guidance counselor saying, hey, when you grow up, you could be this. How did you find this path?
I try to make long story short, okay, because we are limited in time. Let's say the thing is, I was 16 years in, let's say, thriving and sometimes got driven, not driving myself, got driven in corporate and startup environments. And I mean, I made it up to head of department, head of design, because I studied graphic design back in Germany. And yeah, unfortunately, this position led to my first burnout, because I had a very egocentric boss who yelled at me at least 5 times a day, worked 13, 14 hours a day, knew hotel rooms better than my own bed. And my dog hasn't seen me in quite some time. My girlfriend at this time, the same. So at the end of the day, yeah, it makes just click, right? And this was back in 2012. Then in 2018, I was starting a new job here, or my first job here in Barcelona. And the day before this new job, I collapsed on the floor of my bathroom. So, because the thing is, what most people don't understand is, and that's why I'm very happy that you're doing breath work and you're doing meditation, because it helps you to release things our body holds, because our body always keeps a score. And my second burnout just happened because it knew, okay, after 6 months traveling here in Spain, being free, just living on the money of my bank account, and it was like we had to go back to the system. So it means my body knew that, oh God, we have to do that now, and it disagreed completely with me. So, and it took me really, it was back in 2018. It took me half a year going through all the different doctor's offices you can imagine in order to find out what's going on, which was at the end of the day just a lot of air in my stomachs and intestine, aka stress stomach/intestine, so a chronic one. And yeah, from there I built everything up, and I started executive coaching. I studied everything about nutrition, what I can change, and at one point I started CBC, so cognitive behavioral coaching, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I started in 2016 already with meditation, like you, 5 years ago, breathwork. I also became a breathwork teacher, certified one. I mean, it just added up, because for me, personal development is the 101 of living. So if we stop growing, if we stop developing ourselves, we get stuck and we're creating problems for ourselves. And this is something that happens to me back in my days when the burnouts happened. And I never let it come to that again.
I love that. And I want to actually pull something out of, there's so much in there. So thank you. The big one I want to pull out was that you casually mentioned the first time I burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to pull on that thread, because visionary founders, it's, common society, common advice is, burnout's bad. But one of the things I've found is a lot of us, that's our natural work style. We obsessively work hard, we burn bright, and then we fall over.
Yeah.
What I'm envisioning and what I'm learning is to put in some recovery time so that we don't hit that rock bottom burnt out. Because honestly, to me, the stress is helpful up to a certain point, and then it becomes harmful. And I think what I'm seeing, and I want your thoughts on this too, I see a lot of people, once they hit that danger zone, I call it the red light zone, where they're in danger, they push harder and harder, believing that they just, if I do this one more thing. And sometimes it's, for me, that's my cue to go, I better go put some time into the cushions and do some meditation.
Yeah. No, I can just really only absolutely agree with you. There's, for me, no question. I mean, I was the same. For me, it was always so, sometimes really 10 hours days, 12 hours days, 14 hours days. And I think this is something we have learned through society, through our education. And of course, I mean, people, for example, in Northern America, especially in the States and Canada and so on. I mean, also here in Germany, Italy is very crazy with 60 hours a week and stuff like this, I mean, my last contract I had over here was a 37.5 hours contract. Just imagine that, 37.5. And I haven't worked a single second more than that per week. So just imagine that. Because here they take it really in Spain very serious, to not let it come to what we are talking about. But still, this is something we humans have created ourselves, and I love to call it the golden cage. So it's something, so it's like, we're working until we cannot work anymore. And we are using the money in order to, get fit again. So it's like going to the doctors, going to the chiropractic, or whoever, who fix us. So it's actually quite paradox. And what you were describing about the putting a rest in between something, I mean, there's a technique, it's called Pomodoro technique, right?
Yeah.
So it means you're working in blocks, 1.5 hours, for example, doing a 20 minutes, 30 minutes break. So, and this is how I work and how I have even structured my calendar. So I have my breaks in my calendar. So at this time, I don't reach to my laptop, to my phone, whatever. No, I'm away from everything, take my time, read a few pages of one of my 3-4 books over there. So, and once you start reading, it's like, leave it. Or go like you, doing a little breathwork session or a little sound meditation session, which takes just 10 minutes or something like this. I mean, in these moments, we recharge, because the thing is, when we always keep, let's say, 50 loops open in our head, it's like, what happens to your browser or to your laptop when you have 50 tabs open and you don't close one of them? So, I mean, your laptop does not become faster because of that. No, it becomes slower. So on this, our our hard drive, our brain is working more or less, or let's say comparable to a hard drive of or RAM of a laptop. I mean, it becomes slower the more is going on, and if you don't close those loops or tabs, of course, at one time we have just a certain capability and capacity. We just crash. So that's why close the loops, take your time, process what you have done in your free time, because brain needs that time to process stuff. And this is what happens with the most people, especially when they have back-to-back calls. Oh God. Oh, come on, or back-to-back meetings, just rushing from one meeting into another without even breathing 2 minutes in between. Yeah, I
So
mean,
for that,
self-destroying.
what I want to point out a few things, because first of all, when we have too many tabs open, we're not just slowing down, we're actually causing damage, because when I have too many tabs open, I hear my fans kick in, and I know that my motherboard is overheating, and so is my hard drive. That's dangerous. And yes, we can do that short term. But for me, I built in most of my meetings now. For some reason, somebody decided that meetings were an hour long. I now schedule 45 minutes. So that I have time to get some water. I can go take a bathroom break, grab a snack. But again, just whether a call was really good or really bad, there's a cognitive load that I need to set down so that I can move into the next meeting.
No, absolutely. Totally on your side with that. It's the most healthy thing I definitely recommend to all my coaches, because at the end of the day, either we manage it to raise the capacity, the cognitive one, or we recharge in between, because we need to understand our limits as well. If we don't see them, we don't understand them, we will crash earlier or later.
Well, and one thing I personally believe is the more regulated I am, the more creative I am, but it's also just basic physics. When I'm calm and my brain is oxygenated, I'm in a better space to think, and that gives me more options. Is that what you're seeing?
We can ask actually here directly your audience when they have their best ideas. And I promise you, it's under the shower, on a walk, watching a fire, watching the waves, wherever they give their brain some silence, and they focus on the here and now and on themselves. So this is a moment when creativity has space to sparkle, because if the memory is, or let's say the RAM in your brain is full, how do you make sure? You need to make space for creativity to come up. So if everything is blocked, no space for creativity or clarity. So this is a normal human process. And this is something I try to make people understand with my work, either on LinkedIn, with my coaches, with everyone I'm interacting with, your audience. Hopefully some of them understand that they perhaps do something different in the future.
Well, and for what it's worth, I think my audience is very prone to burnout. So to be blunt, they also know the cost of burnout. So we just need to show them an alternative, because I think that is especially in North America, we have this hustle culture, grind mentality. I get a lot of flack because I stepped away from it, and it's like, that might be for you, but I have no desire. I can tell you how many consecutive days I can work 100 hours a week before I collapse. I don't want to get there again. And, it's going to sound funny, Chris, but what I realized was that by not prioritizing my health, I was actually being lazy, because instead of making actual decisions, I just dealt with everything that came at me, and I would say yes to everything. Now it's like, do I really want to invest the energy in that?
That's a very good point with the energy, because this is something we really need to understand. that our brain, it just has a size, or not the size, but the weight of 3% of our entire body, right? But it uses, a normal use, 20% of our entire body energy every day, normal use. And now just imagine you're a high performer, right? So it means you're using sometimes 25 or 30% of your energy. So how to get that back? And there we are coming back to rest is not a reward, it's a strategy. Yeah. So because in the past I was focusing in my work a lot on mental energy, and the thing is, we are waking up every morning with the highest amount of mental energy. And now just imagine what people are doing throughout their day in order to really waste it, rather than let's say not, yeah, you cannot store it. You will spend, let's say, spend it wisely, you know. So in order to really consciously spending it wisely, to say, okay, I will use, like you said, my energy for just the thing that matter in life, and not like you said, I'm taking care of because when you're in this mode, which you described before, you will prefer checking your emails and responding to things that do not matter at all, rather than eating the frog, which you should do because this is a work that matters, you know?
Yeah.
So that's
I love that. And honestly, I think that's the aha moment, is we either decide how our energy gets spent, or we react to how we've squandered it. And I think that's a lot of people are playing recovery mode when it's so much easier to play with an intentional mode, where you're you called it a strategy. And I think I know a lot of high driving people, and I love them dearly, but they'll scoff when I say, the number one thing I hear is, I don't have time to meditate. And I'm like, you're going to find that time whether you want to or not. I promise.
Yeah. People just don't make the time because their priorities are set in a different way. So I think this is one of the biggest challenges many people face in life, setting the right priorities. So what is important actually to me, right?
Yeah.
So when you think about it, where priorities of people sit, I mean, I have many friends who have family, right? I mean, with children and everything. I don't have that. So of course my priorities lie somewhere else rather than theirs, but I have a lot of conscious friends who set their family first and their work second. And they know they need the energy for their family first, because what does it help you to be the bread giver, which is nice for your wife or for your husband and for your children, of course. But what does it help you if you cannot even spend time with your loved ones? So when you don't have the energy, when you come back home after 10, 12, 14 hours, and the only thing you are able to do is sitting on the couch and starting Netflix, and then going to bed and waking up at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you go on repeat, It's like, who do you help with that? No one. So that's why take care of yourself first, so you can take care of everyone else. And this is not about your family only. It also counts, like you have said in the beginning, for your team, because your team also needs you and needs you fully.
I love that. And for what it's worth, I don't get too fancy with things. I know people, you're going to laugh at this, but they've become addicted to meditation and breath work to the exclusion of other things, including family. And one of my aha moments was, we spend a lot of time trying to fix adults after life has broken them. I have 2 kids, and I'm teaching them how to do a simple box breathing where, it's in and out, and there's a count to it. It is amazing watching them just calm down. And that's something, whenever they have a test or they're doing something at school that stresses them, they now have this new tool, and it's a simple one. I teach them just 10 breaths, and it centers them. when somebody says I don't have time for meditation or breath work, it's like your priorities are different, because at some point you're going to have that full burnout episode. You're going to collapse and you're going to be in a hospital bed going, man, I probably should have meditated.
Yeah, should have. So it's like should have is this kind of sentences I love to hear all the time. Like it's as famous as we have always done it like this, you know,
Yeah.
this kind of sentences where you think, really, are you really sure? Yeah. And you know, it's like, I mean, we're living in the 21st century. We're not living in the 80s or 90s anymore, or early 2000s, where really we have glorified hustle culture. We have glorified multitasking. You remember multitasking, for example. So it's like our brain is not able to multitask, especially not males. So yes, it's able, but the problem is that if you don't fully focus on one task at a time, the task will be not 100% done the way you might have wanted it. So, I mean, these are simple, it's not even a framework. This is just simple knowledge. Focus at one time, at one thing. I mean, Tony Robbins, for example, he preaches this all the time, you know? I mean, he made one of the most important sentences when it comes to this. Your energy flows where your focus goes, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just follow that. And I mean, you will see how much less energy you will spend over the day. It's the same with decisions.
I love that. Yeah, I was actually just going to comment that I understand multitasking to be that it's not actual multitasking. It's we're switching attention.
Yeah.
And just in the last year, I've felt the weight of that context switching, because you're literally, it's like lifting weights. You pick up a weight, you carry it around for a bit, then you put it down, and then you pick it up again. Over time, that weight gets heavier relative, because you're not resetting.
Yeah. It's about the loops we have talked about before. It's the same. It's all interconnected. So yeah, it's exactly that. And the same is, I mean, this what most people think is that when it comes to burnout, for example, that one big thing happened, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's never like this. No, it's about the little things that happens over time. So, and context switching is one of them that helps you to get closer to your burnout. So, the same is with decision making. You cannot imagine. I mean, and what is it? In 3 weeks roundabout, I have a keynote here in Barcelona, and I would talk about that. Time management was never about time. And I will talk about actually energy management, because time is just a frame, right? We have all the same 24 hours every day, but at the end of the day, it's the energy that's important, because we fill our time with the energy we have throughout the day. And when it comes to decisions, people underestimate how many tiny decisions they're making every single day that do not add to their lives. I mean, they're wasting mental energy on decisions like which socks I'm wearing, which suit I'm wearing today. Do I take the bike, the car, the metro, or an Uber or whatever to go to work?
Yep.
What I'm eating today. So, I mean, look at Barack Obama, for example, or on Steve Jobs in the past. They were always wearing the same clothes. Always the same suit, because they needed to prepare themselves. They haven't had the capacity to take and make a decisions on their clothes. They needed this capacity, this cognitive capacity for the important decisions in their lives.
Yeah.
So, and when you pre-decide your breakfast, when you pre-decide certain things like your clothes, for example, or how you go to work or whatever, the night before, your day will start completely different.
You and I were meant to have this conversation, because I'm not kidding. Literally this morning, my wife and I, we were talking about how different it is for me, because as a man, I don't care, if people don't like what I wear, so be it. I literally get dressed in the dark. I open the closet, I grab the farthest to the left, take it out, put it on, and hey, look, it is what it is. Same with socks. And then my wife will spend, time trying to figure out what to wear today. And she gets really annoyed when I have no advice. And I'm like, I've eliminated that from my world. It's up to you to figure out how it fits in your world. Because again, it's just having to make one more decision. And honestly, I think that's where people go, they leave it to chance and say, okay, in the morning, I'll decide if I'm going to go to the gym or not. And to me, that's a decision against you going to the gym because you haven't prepared for it. So
yeah. I mean, what you prepare yourself for in the mind will become your reality, because probably like I know, our brain does not now make any difference between what we can imagine and what is the real reality. So at the end of the day, if you already envision in the evening that you're going to the gym, you will go to the gym because you have made a decision. Basta. That's it. So I mean, as easy as that. Make the important the little decisions already in the evening, so you're prepared for the next day. Yeah,
I love that. Well, Chris, sorry, I could talk to you all day, but I need to be mindful.
Yes.
Where can people go to connect with you, find out more about what you're doing, maybe figure out how they can collaborate with you?
The best would be, of course, always LinkedIn, my preferred platform. So my full name is Christoph Karl Knoll. Perhaps you can write it later down wherever you publish the podcast, or on my website, leadyourselffirst.coach. So there you can find me. Just talk with me. I'm always open to meaningful conversations, and I definitely am not up for pitch slapping. So therefore, sorry to say, I just had someone in my LinkedIn comments, DMs, just a half an hour ago or an hour ago, and it was like, I know what you want, so please don't do that. But now I'm open for meaningful chats with everyone who is into self-development.
I love that, Chris. And I think it's funny when somebody pitch slaps me, I have to do that deep breath moment because my first reaction is I want to educate them on what a terrible business idea that is. But
don't waste your energy.
It's like, I used to think it was, I was helping the world by helping them realize that it's a terrible thing. But now I look at it and go, it is so not worth that little burst of energy. I'll feel good for a minute. And then it's like, So Chris, you are fabulous. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. You will be back on the show.
Thank you very much.
Visionary founders need people like you in their world to keep them centered. So on behalf of my audience, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Jeff. It was a pleasure. Thank you for inviting.